Hello everyone, I'm Thayang and we are reading Elementary Chinese Reader 2, Lesson 36. In order to understand the grammar points we are about to cover in this lesson, let us first have a look at the following English sentences. He can read a Chinese newspaper. The voice is very low. I cannot listen clearly. In Book 1, we have learned the use of auxiliary verbs can, nang, koi and hui for can as used in English. We can also use potential complements to denote a possibility or a possible happening. As we saw in the first sentence, he can read Chinese newspaper. This is a learned ability, a skill. We can use hui and we can also use another grammar expression that is called potential complement. We can make a potential complement by placing the second the between the main verb and resultative complement. So we can also express this sentence, he can read Chinese newspaper, by using a potential complement. Let us read this Chinese sentence where we translate this sentence using a potential complement by placing the between the main verb and the resultative complement. 他看得懂人民日报. Kan is to see or read. Dong is to understand. Kan is the main verb and dong, understand, that is the resultative word or potential. We place the between kan and dong. 他看得懂, he can read and understand. Or we can simply say he can read. 人民日报, People's Daily. He can read People's Daily. This is the usage of potential complement to denote a possibility that something is possible, something can be done. So he can read Chinese newspaper or he can read People's Daily. Looking at the second sentence, 声音太小. 声音 is voice, 太 very, 小 small, the voice is very small or very low. 我听不清楚. Think is to listen, to know or not. 清楚, clear or clearly. The voice is very low, I cannot listen clearly. This is the negative form of potential complement. Remember, we did the potential complement by placing the second type of the between the verb and resultative complement. Similarly, if we have to negate it, we replace the by pu. 我听不清楚. Think to listen, 清楚 clearly, cannot listen clearly. The voice is low, I cannot hear clearly. Looking at the third sentence in the box, 这些练习, these exercise, 半个小时 half an hour, 做得完做不完. 做得完 and 做不完. This is affirmative negative sentence formation. Can this exercise be completed in half an hour? Affirmative negative, 做得完做不完. Can it be done or can it not be done? This is affirmative negative form of same potential complement. Can this be done in half an hour? Can this exercise be completed in half an hour or not? Moving on to the substitution drills, let us read the first sentence. 这张报你看过吗? This newspaper, have you read 看过? Guo is going over. Have you seen this newspaper? 看过 saw. 看得懂吗? 看得懂 were you able to understand? Or can you read and understand? 看得懂 can understand. Kan is the main verb and dong is resultative complement. The second the is placed between the verb and resultative complement. Can understand. Moving on to the words in the box to make replacement in the underlined parts, let us read the following words from the box. 那段录音, that section record. 听 to listen. Have you listened to that section record? 听过 listened. 听得懂吗? Listen and understand. Or were you able to understand? 听得懂 can understand. Think is the main verb and dong is resultative complement. Think the tong is the pattern called potential complement. Moving on to the second word, the next set of two words in the box. 这本小说. This novel. Kan, to see or read. Have you read this novel? Read. Were you able to read and understand? Can, read and understand. Replace these words in the above sentence and make these sentences. 哪个中国电影? That Chinese movie. Kan, to see. Have you seen that Chinese movie? 看过. 看得懂吗? 看得懂. I was able to see and understand. Moving on to the second sentence of substitution drills. Let us read out the following sentences. 你看得见前面的东西吗? 看得见. Were you able to see or view? 前边 in front. 东西 things. Are you able to see the things in front? 天太黑了. The day is dark or it is dark. 看不见 cannot see. This is the negative form of potential complement. Potential complement is made by placing the between the verb and the resultative complement. And if we have to negate it, we put pu instead of the. So, 看不见 cannot see. If you can see, then we say 看得见. 看得见, 看不见. Positive form and negative form. Let us move on to the box and read the following words to make replacement in this sentence. He, river. Shu, tree. Chuan, boat. Shan, mountain. Replace these words in the above sentence to make new words. Moving on to the third substitution drill, let us read out the following sentence. 耳机里的声音. 耳机, is ear, ji is machine. 耳机 is earphone. 耳机里的声音. The voice inside the earphone. 你听得见, 听不见. Can you listen to the voice in the headphone or earphone? 听得见, can listen, 但是听不清楚, but not listen clearly. This is an affirmative negative form of question. 听得见, 听不见. Can you listen or can you not listen? 听得见, 但是听不清楚. Can listen but cannot listen clearly. Moving on to the words in the box to make suitable replacement and make new sentences. Let us read the following words from the box. 收音机, radio. 录音机, recorder. 电视机, a television set. 电话, telephone. Are you able to listen the voice from the telephone inside the telephone? Can listen but cannot listen clearly. Moving on to the fourth substitution drill, let us read out the following sentence. 你能借得着那本书吗? Nang is can, 借得着. Notice we have used both the auxiliary verb nang, which denotes a possibility, physical possibility, something that can happen, and also potential complement. Can you borrow that book? 你能 can, 借得着. Potential complement, again this means can. Here nang is used to put more emphasis on this sentence. Can you borrow that book? 那本书. 我想, I think. 能借得着, I think. I can borrow that book. Auxiliary verbs are used along with potential complement to make more emphasis on the sentence or statement. Moving on to the words in the box to make replacement in this sentence. 买 to buy. 中国历史故事. 中国历史 China's history. 故事 story. Can you buy China's history story? I think I can buy. Moving on to the next sentence. 找 to look for or find. 昨天丢的表. 昨天 yesterday. 丢 to lose. 表 watch. The watch that was lost yesterday. Can you find out the watch that was lost yesterday? Replace these words in underlined parts and make new sentence. Moving on to the last two words from the box. Sai, to guess. 这个谜 is a riddle. Can you guess this riddle, or can you guess the answer to this riddle? Replace these words in the above sentence and make new sentences. Moving on to the fifth substitution drill. Let us read out the following sentence. 这些作业半个小时做得完做不完 This homework, can this be done in half an hour or not? 做得完做不完赶快做赶快 is quickly or doing it quickly 可能做得完可能 is perhaps 做得完 done quickly, perhaps this could be done in half an hour. Moving on to the words in the box to make replacements, making new sentences. Let us read the following words. 汉字 写 汉字 Chinese character 写 to write 课文 text 看 to read 主字 sentence 翻译 translate one T question. Moving on to the sixth substitution drill, let us read out the following sentence. 昨天天气比较热 Yesterday weather was comparatively warm. 今天凉快一点儿 Today 凉快 is cool 一点儿 a bit. Yesterday weather was warm. Today it is a bit cool. Notice the usage of itr, a bit or slightly. Let us now move on to the words to make replacement in this sentence to make new sentences. 天气冷暖和天气 is weather. 冷 cold. 暖和 warm. Yesterday weather was comparatively cold. Today is it a bit warm. 上次 new words. 多 many. 少 less. Replace these words. Moving on to the next set of three words. 课文 text. 难 difficult. 容易 easy. Last set of three words. Let us read out these words. 语法 grammar. 复杂 complex. 简单 simple. Replace these words in the sentence to make new sentence. Moving on to the seventh substitution drill, let us read out the following sentence. 这件衣服 these clothes 有一点短 short 短 is short. These clothes are a bit short. Let us have a look at the words in the box to make replacement with the underlined parts to make new sentences. 这本书 this book 厚 thick 薄 thin. This book is thick, a bit thick, or it could be thin 薄. Moving on to the next set of words to make replacement. 耳机里的声音 the sound inside the headphone 不清楚 not clear. 这个句子长 this sentence long. This sentence is a bit long. Let us now move on to the text of this lesson, which is a Chinese idiomatic story. 可奏求见 which means a very absurd or a silly idea. Let us read this text to understand how this idiom came into existence and came to mean a silly or a stupid idea. 可奏求见 is a silly or an absurd idea. It is a Chinese idiom to mean something silly or stupid. Let us read the text now. 上课的时候 at the time of the class 老师让我听录音 At the time of the class, the teacher asked us to listen to a record. 老师说, the teacher said, 这是一个常用故事. This is an idiomatic story or a story behind an idiom. 这是一个常用故事. This is an idiomatic story. 上色不太多. 上色 new words. 不太多 not many. New words are not many. This is an idiomatic story and new words are not many. 看你们听得懂听不懂 看 to see 你们 you all 听得懂 listen and understand 听不懂 see if you can listen and understand this idiomatic story 大家戴上了耳机大家 everybody 戴 to wear 上 up 耳机 headphone 开始听了开始 to start think to listen. Everybody put on their headphones and started to listen. Harley说 Harley said 老师 teacher 我耳机里的声音有一点不清楚 The voice inside my headphone is not clear. It's a bit not clear. 老师问 the teacher asked听得见吗 Can you listen? 听得见可是听不清楚 Can listen but cannot listen clearly. 老师问别的同学 The teacher asked 别的 other 同学 classmates. The teacher then asked other classmates 听得清楚听不清楚 Can you listen or are you not able to listen clearly? So the teacher then asked other classmates whether they can listen clearly or not. 大家都说听得清楚 Everybody said that they can listen clearly. 老师对哈利说 The teacher said to Harley 你的耳机 your headphone 可能坏了 perhaps broken or perhaps it is not good. The teacher said to Harley Your earphone is perhaps broken. 换个耳机试试换 exchange 耳机 headphone sure to try with another headphone. The teacher said perhaps your earphone is broken. Try with a new headset or new headphone. Harley 说 Harley said 不用换了 No need to exchange. 现在 right now 听清楚 listen clearly. So Harley said no need to exchange. Now I can listen clearly. Let us now read the story that the students were listening. 这是中国古时候的故事 This is a Chinese old times story. 古时候 old time 故事 story. 从前 earlier 有个人坐船过河有个人 a person 坐 to sit 船 boat 过河 go over river. A person was going over river by boat. 船走 to go over or walk. 到 arrived. Her junction in the middle of the river. The boat went to the middle of the river. 不小心 not careful or being careless. 他的剑掉到水里去了。他的剑 his sword 掉 dropped. 水里 inside the water 去了 went. Not careful, his sword dropped inside the water. 他马上 he at once or he immediately. 在船边 at 船边 at the side of the boat. He immediately at the side of the boat. 做了一个记号 做了 did 记号 mark. He immediately put a mark on side of the boat. 他说 he said 我的剑 my sword 从这儿 from here. So he said, my sword from here. Diao xia chu de, diao fell, xia down, chu de went. So he put a mark at side of the boat and said, my sword fell from here. 船到了岸边, 船 boat, 到了 arrived, 岸边 at the bank. The boat arrived at the bank. 这个人 this person, 立刻 at once, this person at once. 上座记号的地方 from 记号的地方 from the place of the mark, from the place where he had put in the mark at the boat. 跳到水里 jumped inside the water. 到水里 jumped inside the water. 找 to look for or find. 他的剑 his sword. So he put a mark on the place on the boat where his sword fell in the water, and once this boat reached the bank of the river, he immediately jumped at the place where he had put in the mark inside the water to find his boat. So this is a silly idea, a stupid idea, and story behind this idiom. 刻舟求剑, an absurd or silly idea. 听完以后, 听完 after listening, after finished listening, 以后 later. 老师 teacher. 让我们汉语说, 让 let or asked, 汉语 Chinese, 说 speak. After finished listening, the teacher asked us in Chinese, 说一说故事的内容, 说 to speak, 故事 story, 内容 content. So after finished listening, after we finished listening, the teacher asked us to speak in Chinese the content of this story or the story behind the idiom. 老师 hi, one woman, 老师 teacher hi. In addition or further, one woman asked us. So first he asked to speak the content of the story in Chinese, and further he asked us, 这个人, 当然 this person, certainly, 找不着 to find out, was he able to find out? 他的剑 his sword. So the teacher asked two questions. First he said to speak the content of this story in Chinese, and further asked whether this person was able to find out his sword or not. 这个故事的含义是什么呢? Hani is implication. 这个故事的含义, this story's implication. 是什么呢 is what, or what is the implication of this story? 很多同学举手, 很多同学 many classmates, to raise to show hands. Many students raised their hands. 要求回答, 要求 to request, 回答 answer. So teacher asked questions and many students raised their hands requesting to answer the question. 老师看了看表说, 老师 teacher 看了看 saw, 表 watch, 说 said. So teacher watching his watch or looking at his watch said, 快下课了, 快 is quick, 下课 class get over, 了 so quick the class is about to get over. 回答完了, the answer is not complete. Looking at his watch, teacher said, the class is about to get over, the answer is not yet complete. 下一节课, 下 next, 节课 in next class. 再 again, in next class again. 请你们回答, 请 request, 你们 you all, 回答 answer. In next class again would ask you or request you to answer this question. So So teacher looked at his watch, said the class is about to get over. The answer is not yet complete. In next class, again we'll ask you to answer the question. This was the story behind the idiom 刻舟求剑. And this was lesson 36, where we saw the usage of potential complement to denote a possibility, which can be used with auxiliary verbs to make more emphasis on the sentence. And we also read the story behind the idiom 刻舟求剑, or an absurdly silly idea.